The genocide that's happening in the Gaza Strip shouldn't be tolerated. Uh, Netanyahu forcing the extermination of genocide on the Palestinian citizens within the Gaza Strip, trying to force them to flee into Egypt as permanent refugees by razing the Gaza Strip to the ground, that shouldn't be tolerated and turn a blind eye on behalf of Washington and the politicians and the media of America. The same way the world didn't tolerate genocide, exterminations of the Jewish people under Hitler. We didn't tolerate genocide then, and we shouldn't tolerate it now, regardless of what side of the conflict, whether it be hypocrisy on religion, based on religion, whether it be hypocrisy based on diplomacy. When it comes to mankind, we shouldn't condone exterminations in the name of war, meaning genocide based on ethnic tribes of human beings, regardless of what side of the conflict you're arguing. It's a sin, a crime against humanity. We shouldn't use and hide behind religion in order to be hypocritical when it comes to politics and military, regardless of what religion you worship, whether you be Christians, Muslims, or Jewish faiths. We shouldn't be blinded by religious hypocrisies and commit atrocities on our mankind as far as humanity is concerned. So for that reason, and also you got to understand the frustrations of the Arab Middle East. Ever since World War I, the oil companies of America, Britain, and Dutch carved up the Middle East for the love of gasoline. And ever since then, America has a monopoly on the petro-gasoline trading of the world consumption of gasoline with our petrodollar reserve status currencies of the greenback. So we genocidally slaughtered the Arab lands by toppling, overthrowing their governments, invading their governments, genocidally warmongering them just to prop up our petrodollar and float gasoline with our currency throughout the world. That gave America a gluttony of greed on the world stage economically. So you got to understand the frustrations of the Arab region towards the West. It's not right when America topples, overthrows, and invades Arab nations just to prop up our petrodollar status. That's genocidal wars based on the love of gluttony, of greed, of floating our fiat currencies to have a monopoly on the world stage as a world sole superpower. Because of it, America, after World War II, derived the WTO, the World Trade Organization, the International Monetary Fund, the Bank of Settlements, the World Bank, and the SWIFT system. And we use currency as a weapon throughout the third world by making nations' currency inferiorly pegged to our world reserve status, which is a serious disease of gluttony, of greed, if you ask me. So I can understand why the Arab regions has hostility towards Washington. And when it comes to Israel, because of Christianic hypocrisy of faith, we've believed that we should always defend Israel with the Pentagon military weapon supplies, that we should always defend the tribes of Jesus Christ. But then hypocritically, religiously, America believes that once they declare the Messiah, somehow that's the devil on earth, Lucifer. The Messiah of the Israelites will be the Antichrist on earth. And that's when we'll turn against Israel and try to destroy it, thinking that we're doing the work of Jesus Christ and the second coming, which is insanity. I'm an atheist. I'm a pacifist atheist. So I believe that even though I don't believe in religion, I don't believe I should stop people in believing in religion. You got the right to believe in whatever religion you want, as long as you do it peacefully. But when you take religious pride and as a nation you act out in war and you slaughter thousands and thousands, even millions of people based on religious pride and hypocrisy, that's a crime on humanity. As an atheist, I believe religion is a mythology conjured up by wishful thinking of man imagination that derives a cult of religious beliefs. As an atheist, I believe that's how religion is spawned off, regardless of what religions you believe in. But I still, based on my faith, I don't believe in blocking people from believing in faith. People, as a pacifist, I believe you can believe in whatever faith you want to, but do it peacefully. As a nation and leaders of nations, you shouldn't act out in the name of war based on religion. To slaughter each other, millions and millions of people, based on a mythology of conjured up thoughts of man that spawned off religious faiths. I think that's foolish. Darwinianly speaking, when we slaughter ourselves for mythology that's been man-derived, of wishful thinking, of abstract beliefs in faith. So I'm against using religion in the name of war. If you want to believe in religion, do it peacefully, but never act out in violence in the name of religion. So that's another aspect that's going on in the Middle East. It's been Christianic, Zionist, Jewish faith, and Muslims faiths that between this triangulum of faiths, they collide with each other. And millions of people perish because of it. And I believe that Darwinianly, that is ignorance on mankind. To commit that upon ourselves as human beings is ignorance. So if I look at myself, I will have to say I'm an atheist pacifist when it comes to religion. You can believe in religion, but do it peacefully. Because the moment you act out in war and slaughter innocent humankind because of it, you become a tyrant, Darwinically speaking, on mankind. And do it on a base of ignorance, of mythological conjured up faiths that don't have no merit as far as acting out in the name of war based on religious beliefs. It's an atrocity of ignorance of mankind, if you ask me, when politicians slaughter nations in the name of religion, regardless of what faith you believe in. So that's another aspect of the conflict in the Middle East between the triangulums of Christians, Muslims, and Jewish faiths. And like I said, mentioning that the Arab region has been warmongered for 150 years of gasoline consumptions. Ever since Rockefeller came out with the gasoline engine, Britain and America and the Royal Dutch carved up the Arab lands to prop up the dominance of gasoline dependency of the world. America took advantage of it and colonized the whole world with our petrodollar status to float the gasoline throughout the world that will have to be sold in our currency of gluttony. And you know how many Arab nations and their citizens has been warmongered for the love of oil, for the love of petrodollars? Egypt, Libya, Syria, Iran, Iraq, and other nations in Africa, OPEC members, Venezuela, because America's keeping the hegemony of the petrodollar, trying to control the world currency, being pegged to our world sold super status of America's greenbacks. The Arab nations has paid the greatest sacrifice of this gluttony of America petrodollars. They've been warmongered genocidally for America petrodollars to colonize the world and float the dependency of gasoline to every vehicle on earth that was floated with petrodollar greenbacks, to control the deriving of creations after World War II of the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, the World Trade Organization, the SWIFT system. And America keeps all the third world currency inferiorly pegged to America's world reserve petrodollars. It's a monopoly. It's a Ponzi scheme of that pyramid of the almighty dollar, as we keep the world pegged to gasoline. It's what you call gluttony. And the Arabs has paid the greatest price of genocidally being warmongered. For America's Pentagon trying to take a sledgehammer to any OPEC members that don't see it the petrodollar status way. So America thinks that this sphere of influence is the Middle East when it comes to pegging gasoline with our currency. We toppled Iraq, Syria, Libya. We're trying to do it to Iran, Venezuela, OPEC members in Africa, just to keep a Ponzi scheme going of a petrodollar that's running on fumes as the world reserve status. Not to mention these fumes are destroying the planet. Eventually the planet will be so disordered that for thousands of years we won't be able to live comfortably on this planet because of the gases that will be in the atmospheres, in the stratospheres for thousands of years of carbon emission tailpipes. Tons and tons and hundreds of tons. It's been 150 years of gasoline. Emitting gasoline into the atmospheres as butane, octane, methane. But America's too stuck on stupid with the petrodollar because we gluttonied through our Treasury Department to keep the world pegging to our currency, giving the planet runaway effects of destruction when it comes to the weather formations, because we keep on creating thermal emissions that bleeds the energy of the sun through our hemispheres and cause the rise of intense weather formations of hurricanes, forest fires, droughts, melting the ocean, the northern glaciers of a northern pole hemispheres of the Arctic, causing the oceans to rise and floods to be an everyday thing. Just because America wants to float the gasoline petrodollar, because it gives us the pegging power to devaluate any parity currencies of the third world to be inferior status currencies. That's truly what you call gluttony as far as America's Treasury Department. So yeah, I understand the frustrations of the Arab regions. Who is the United Nations when it comes to France, America, and Britain not recognizing Palestine as a country when they predate the Bible? Before Christ and after Christ, the Philistines were a people of a sovereign land. The United Nations only came to being after World War II. So who are y'all as an organization to deny the Palestinians their sovereign country within the Gaza Strip and the West Bank? But because of Christianic faith, they hypocritically turned a blind eye to the plight of genocide on the Gaza Strip, which is an atrocity as permanent members of the Security Council. So for these things and the hypocrisy of politicians, we turn a blind eye to the genocide of humanity. It wasn't right when Hitler did it to the Jewish people in Germany, and it's not right when Netanyahu is committing the same genocidal atrocities of slaughtering Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, or resorting to imploding cell phones, booby trapping cell phones and beepers and walkie-talkies and then importing them into Lebanon, indiscriminately blowing up children's, women's, innocent people with cell phones that are being used as terrorist weapons to implode and shred. Whoever holds these devices gets shredded, imploded. That's what you call terrorism. It's not right when America turns a blind eye to terrorism because Netanyahu happens to want to be improvising dirty bombs and cell phones to indiscriminately blow up Lebanese citizens. So at the end of the day, we should not condone leaders when they overstep their bounds. We should not condone leaders when they overstep their bounds. So I'm for the two-state solution, and they should learn to live in peace side by side. When it comes to politics, diplomacy, religion, respect each other as human beings, regardless of what faith you might have in politics or in religion. Learn to live with each other, and at the end of the day, we're all one family under humanity. And condone ourselves to recognizing that.